For Super Final Wars, it wasn't easy on being alone, a single parent. It was hard at first, but he did the best he could. He wouldn't be lying saying he doesn't miss Frida. He thinks of her almost every day. He missed that girl. He missed hearing her voice, her smile, her beautiful eyes. Almost every single day, Sufaros thinks about Frida. He never once stopped thinking about her. He was so lucky that he had someone to look after his children when he joined the Survey Corps. At first, he never thought that Grisha never had any children until he discovered that Grisha had two sons. One who disliked him and the other was more different. The one that disliked him was Zeke Yeager. And the other one, well, was clearly Aaron Yeager, his youngest and only son. All what Survivors had to do was just track Aaron down and get payback. First, he has to know for sure if Aaron has the Founding Titan's powers. It didn't take him long, but a couple of weeks, well, about a couple of months, he ended up finding out that Aaron does indeed have the power of the Founding Titan, and he connected the dots. But the reason why Stefanos left Paradise was because he had sons to take care of all alone. Although there was one particular thought that crossed his mind. It still crosses his mind to this day, surprisingly. It was an interesting thought. Very interesting one. And that was, well, surprisingly, it was about Mikasa. He thought about having Mikasa be more like the mother, the figure of his sons. He thought about it for quite some time. Even though Mikasa doesn't look anything like Frida, he wouldn't lie. She does look attractive. Sir Flowers was probably even think about introducing Mikasa to his sons. He was probably even planning on asking her to, well, be more like a mother figure to his children. But something just held him back, and it was about Frida. There's so many thoughts going through his head, saying on what he could have done, what he should have done. Mr. Farmers even had one sad dream last night. He saw a very sad Frida looking at him, asking him why he didn't show up to save her in time. It just kept on echoing through his head over and over again. Mr. Farmers almost wanted to scream. He wanted to scream so badly, but he didn't, because he couldn't. Because either way, it was his fault. He let his wife down when she needed him the most. He would have probably met his unborn child. Well, if he just showed up in time to save them. He could have saved them. He made a promise to her that he'll free them from their 2,000 years of hatred after his parents were killed. Mr. Farmer's eyes saddened. His kids didn't notice, they just kept on playing. And he gritted his teeth as he continued hearing Frida's calls for him. He wanted to punch himself in the face so badly, but he couldn't. Because that's not what she would have wanted. She wanted him to stay alive. She would have wanted him to keep an eye on their children around until they're big enough to take care of themselves. But still, all Mr. Farms wanted was to be back with Frida. But then there was probably something else she would have wanted him to do as well. Move on. Even though it hurts. She would probably wanted him to move on. To find some other lucky woman. To settle down with and have a family. But there was one promise he did kept. And that was keeping an eye on her little sister. He never stopped keeping an eye on Astoria. He kept an eye on her for quite some time. But he failed when he left the island 4 years ago.